What's up everyone? Thanks for joining me today. We're back in my basement again, and we're going to be replacing a faucet that was leaking. This is my outside spigot that goes to the other side of this wall on the south side of my house. The worst part about having this leaking wasn't just spraying on the wall on this concrete in the basement. No, I haven't been able to water my grass, and it's just going dormant, so we gotta get this replaced soon. If you remember my video from last year, I replaced this valve with a new one because this was leaking. I should have just done the whole thing all the way back when I replaced this, but instead I was messing around with some goofy compression fittings, which is what this is. This is a compression fitting. So I removed that, and this is just like a piece together, a couple chunks of copper. This was in like this, and then I had it connected through here with another compression fitting. It was just kind of messy, and well, compression fittings don't do so well when you put lateral forces on them, so what happened was someone jerked the hose to the side from the outside and it kind of did this deal, and it sprung a slight leak. It wasn't gushing out, luckily, so the basement didn't flood, but this did start leaking, so I decided to replace it. And instead of going through with soldering and compression fittings and all that good stuff, I'm going to be trying out SharkBite fittings. Now this has been on the market for about 15 or 20 years, but I've heard pretty good things about them. You just have to make sure you prep the pipe properly, so that way it makes a good tight seal. Now this is what this fitting looks like. SharkBite, as the name suggests, there's these tiny little metal teeth in there that you can see, and that when you press this onto the pipe, it grabs onto the pipe so that way it goes in one way but can't be removed. However, these are removable with a special tool that you press on this little plastic collar, and you can release it and reuse it a couple of times. So it's just got like a rubber O-ring on the inside that prevents it from leaking. So instead of going through with soldering and compressions and all stuff, you just basically just have to take the fitting on the end of the pipe, and you just give it a squeeze and pop it on, and it should stay tight. So we're going to test that out. I do have quite a lot of other SharkBite fittings in the house, and they haven't sprung a leak in the 5 years that I've been here. There's a shower behind this wall here, and you can see that those compression fittings are used here. The SharkBite fittings, I should say, are used for the shower install. Haven't had any problems, so I think we should be okay. And they come in multiple varieties. You can see that we've got some that have valves built into them as well, so you should need pretty minimal tools for this. I do have a male NPT 1/2 inch threaded to SharkBite to adapt to my valve here. Now this setup's going to be different based on your unique situation, so take a look at the type of pipe that you have and how the connectors are. You may not have something like this. It could just be straight copper. In that case, you just have to cut the pipe and put the one coupling on there and you'll be good to go. So this is junk. We'll get rid of that. So without further ado, we'll just get right into it. Alright, here we are outside. You can see how extra crispy my lawn is. It needs water now more than ever. Take a look at this. So you saw that I pushed in the old one from the inside. I had a couple of screws in here. I was sure to remove those first. So as long as it's not hung up on anything, go ahead and remove it. I don't know how old this one is, but you can see where it connected there. This is a 12-inch long, so you may have to remove the old one first to see how long you need it to actually go through your foundation or your exterior wall, because it's going to be different for everybody. You might have an 8-inch or 6-inch. This is a 12, so I replaced it with the same length. You can see there that they line up. The fitting extends just a little bit past where this one was screwed in. So that's good. This will be on the inside of the house. I noticed that this comes with a little plastic sleeve on here, and this is to ensure that there is a proper negative slope for when this is installed, because the instructions say that from where it's connected to the outside there should be a 5-degree slope. So instead of being perfectly straight on, it needs to be aimed down if you want it to be completely frost free. So in the winter time, that way all the water inside this tube drains out properly. Notice it says top, so that's the orientation to install it. we'll be able to see that from the inside. So we'll go ahead and insert that. I'm gonna have to put a couple new screw holes in a different place because it looks like this is a little bit smaller here, so I'm gonna have to caulk this or something just to get it sealed properly. Okay. Sits pretty flush with the wall compared to the other one, and it's a little bit more minimalist. So let's go back inside and we'll get it connected. So guys, word of warning, make sure you shut off the water first before you do this. That's very important before you start cutting pipes and everything like that, obviously. If you don't have a shut off right next to the spigot, make sure you just shut off your main. It's probably a good idea to shut off both just in case this decides to spring leak for some stupid reason. Anyway, I've got some Teflon tape that I'm going to wrap the male threaded pipe end with. I'm going to screw into here. A couple of tools we're going to need. Adjustable pliers. I've also got my vice grips to grip onto here while I'm tightening it up. I've also got a couple feet of copper pipe to make up the gap. So what I'm going to do is, I know there's a lot of people that say you're not supposed to sand this, but you do want to make sure that when you cut it, you're using a proper pipe cutter like this. You can get these for about 10 or 15 bucks online or at Home Depot or whatever. So it just unscrews like this to fit to the diameter of the pipe. I'll show you. And then you just tighten it down, and then you just go around. And this ensures you have a perfect 90-degree cut. You do not want to cut this at an angle because it could leak. So you want perfectly straight cuts, and you also want to deburr the inside. So when I mentioned sandpaper, I'm going to use this thing to scrape the inside burr of the cut out, and then sandpaper, I'm using 1000 grit. What I'll probably just do is I'll just go on the outside and I'll just make sure that this is completely clean and snag free, because if there's like a burr on there from the cut, it could damage the O-ring, so you don't want to do that. So we'll just make sure we cut it properly. We're not gonna sand smooth this. I've seen some videos where people sand this, and you don't really want to do that because you want to leave the copper pipe clean, but you don't want to remove the outside or change the diameter of it in any way. So, you know, by sanding it, you might have some imperfections, so just very minimal sanding just on the flat surface here, just to ensure it's smooth. Okay, so we've got this in. And I'm going to take a mark, I'm going to measure the distance here, so this copper pipe is actually going to go inside up to about the center line. There's a line that's right there, so that's your depth mark. It should be about 1 inch. And SharkBite actually does sell a device that you stick the pipe into, and you can ream and clean the end of it properly, and it'll even give you a depth gauge marking. But if you don't have that tool, just eyeball it like that. Take a marker and draw a line and you'll know the depth. And then what I'm going to do over here on this end, I'm going to do the same after the other connector is installed. The pipe does have a little bit of give to it, so if I'm off by, you know, 1/4 of an inch, it's not a big deal. I can move that pipe just slightly. We don't want to move it too much because we could mess up some of the connectors in there and cause a leak elsewhere. So be very careful. Make sure your pipe is properly supported. Okay, I got the copper pipe cut to size. It's gonna go hopefully perfect. And I guess I didn't need this guy. I thought I was gonna have to adapt, but it should go straight in just like that. So this is returnable, I guess. Yeah, that's gonna be easier than I thought. So first thing we do is, I think I'm gonna attach it to the outside first. That way I can push from this side without it flexing my entire system too much. I'll push in on this side, and then I can grab the whole thing here and I can push on this side. I'm afraid if I take this I'll torque it too much, so let's do that. How much force it takes. This is literally my first time doing SharkBite. And sorry for the camera angle, it's kind of tight in my basement here. Maybe I'll push it from the outside. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll go around the outside, take this out, push it in, slide the whole thing in. And we're back. That took a lot of force, actually. So now we'll press this end in, and you'll actually feel like a little bit of a pop. Yeah, I think that's it. I want to make sure it's all the way seated, so I'm pushing towards the wall a little bit so I've got room to pull. Pushing and pulling like this to make sure the two ends are completely seated fully. And I think we're okay. Yep. You can rotate it around on the inside. This hole isn't cut 90 degrees either. The pipe is actually sloped up a little bit, which is kind of a problem. Sorry if my head's in the way. Yeah, I think it's in all the way. And it made it difficult because it's going in at a couple degree angle. Well, moment of truth, huh? Let's turn the water on. Slowly. Slowly. When I opened it up that far last time, water was spitting out like crazy. So, it appears the SharkBite fittings are holding under pressure. I've got the outside spigot closed off right now. Not gonna open it up all the way, we're gonna go outside and test it, but so far, I think we're good and tight. As you can see, it did turn a little bit, but it's under pressure right now, so I don't want to turn it while it's under pressure. But just to test that we've got water flow. That was loud. Valve opening up for the first time. Sweet. No leaks, I'm so happy. So if you guys found this video useful, you should hit subscribe for future videos. If you got any comments or feedback, or if I did something wrong, by all means leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, thanks for watching.